for today's Leader Sangha program, Bhagavad Gita discussion, chapter 12, verse number 12. Thank you very much to Sanjeev Prabhu for giving us a reminder of the verses and for putting up your realizations as well. Hope you have heard others' realizations also. That is for your own benefit. No? So thank you very much. Now, who would like to share your realization? And others can join in. Thank you. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, dear devotees. Thank you, Amrish Prabhuji. Thank you, Purnamada Devi Dashi Mataji. And thank you, Krishna Samabhavan Krishna Prabhu, for guiding and giving us an opportunity to give our realization. We are in Bhagavad Gita, chapter 12, verse 12, devotional service. Sreyo hi jnanam abhyasaja jnanad dhyanam vishishyate dhyanat karma phala tyagas tyajach shantir ajantaram. श्रेयो हि ज्ञानम् अभ्यासाय ज्ञानात् ध्यानं विशिष्यते ध्यानात् कर्मफलत्यागात् त्याजत् शान्तिर् अनन्तरम्. श्रेयो हि ज्ञानम् अभ्यासाय ज्ञानात् ध्यानं विशिष्यते ध्यानात् कर्मफलत्यागात् त्याजत् शान्तिर् अनन्तरम्. Shreya, better. He, certainly. Jnanam, knowledge. Abhyasat, by practice. Jnanat, better than knowledge. Dhyanam, meditation. Vishishyate, especially, considered. Dhyanat, from meditation. Karmaphala tyagaha, renunciation of the result of fruitive action. Tyagat, by such renunciation. Santihi, peace. Anantaram, thereafter. Better certainly knowledge by practice, better than knowledge, meditation, especially considered from meditation, renunciation of the result of fruitive action. Such renunciation, peace thereafter. Translation by Srila Prabhupada, Srila Prabhupada ki jai. If you cannot take to this practice, then engage yourself in the cultivation of knowledge. Better than knowledge, however, is meditation, and better than meditation is renunciation of the fruits of action. For by such renunciation one can attain peace of mind. Purport. As mentioned in the previous verses, there are two kinds of devotional service: the way of regulated principles and the way of full attachment in the love of Supreme Personality of Godhead. For those who are actually not able to follow the principle of Krishna consciousness, it is better to cultivate knowledge because by knowledge one can be able to understand his real position. Gradually knowledge will develop to the point of meditation. By meditation one can be able to understand the Supreme Personality of Godhead by gradual process. These are processes which make one understand that one himself is the Supreme, and that sort of meditation is preferred if one is unable to engage in devotional service. If one is not able to meditate in such a way, then there are prescribed duties as enjoined in the Vedic literature. For the Bhagavatam, Vaishyas and Shudras, which we shall find in a better chapter of Bhagavad Gita, a later chapter of Bhagavad Gita. But in all cases, one should give up the result of or fruits of labor. This means to employ the result of karma for some good cause, In summary, to reach the Supreme Personality of Godhead, the highest goal, there are two processes. One process is by gradual development, and the other process is the direct development, direct devotional service. In Krishna consciousness is a direct method. And the other method involves renouncing the fruits of one's activities. Then one can come to the stage of knowledge, then to the stage of meditation, then to the stage of understanding the super soul, and then to the stage of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. So one may either take step by step process or the direct path. The direct process is not possible for everyone. Therefore, the indirect process is also good. It is, however, to be understood that the indirect process is not recommended for Arjun because he is already at the stage of loving devotional service to the Supreme Lord. It is not. It is for others who are not at this state. For them, the gradual process of renunciation, knowledge, meditation, and realization of the Supreme Super Soul and Brahman should be followed. But as far as Bhagavad Gita is concerned, it is the direct method that is stressed. Everyone is advised to take the direct method and surrender into the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Krishna. So my realization from this particular verse is that here actually Srila Prabhupada explained that the best is to engage in full devotional service. But if not possible, then try to cultivate the knowledge, meditate, and finally renounce the fruits of action. So this actually sequence shows that the Krishna is is guiding us in the different levels of spiritual, those who are in the spiritual aspirants. So actually, Srila Prabhupada in the purport also and also in translation it says that it's a peace. Finally, one such renunciation, then one can attain the peace of mind. So this peace of mind comes through in renunciation. The renunciation of the fruits of action that brings about a real peace, even if one cannot engage in direct devotional service or cannot do or constantly meditation, then renouncing the fruits of one's work is dedicating them to Krishna. This is a powerful way to connect with him. Uh, Even Srila Prabhupada given an example of Arjun, actually, who fought the battle in Kurukshetra as a duty, but he was totally detached from the outcome. So, so working without attachment and offering the results to Krishna, that purifies the heart and the leads one to the higher platform of bhakti. Srila Prabhupada has given one nice example from one of his lecture, Nectar of Devotion, chapter 14. He's given a story of a typist who's the typist who is working in the office, and he goes to the office, he does his work, documents, but his main aim is his focus is actually to get the salary. But if the same typist change and start working for Krishna or temple or for the spiritual organization or type some books, devotional books, then the same what the work he's doing is it, but the different purpose. So the action of the actually typist doesn't change. He's doing the same job, but the intention is does. So instead of working for the personal gain, one should be working for the Krishna, spreading the message of the Krishna. And this is actually the renunciation of the fruits of the action. Also, another example, Srila Prabhupada given story again that the soldier who fights for the country, he fights in the war, but his intention is not fighting for the personal gain, but he's fighting for the country. He takes risk, but he does his duty. If he wins, he doesn't claim that that's the personal credit. But if he loses, even he doesn't lament. Similarly, we should devotees work like devotees should work like a Krishna's soldier. We should do our job, do have our family responsibilities, but all everything should be without attachment or success or failure. So this actually one has to develop this attitude, and and then and then you slowly uh, progress in spiritual uh, re, uh, renunciation. In Bhagavad Gita chapter 2 verse 55, the Lord says that uh, the translation, Lord says that the Supreme Personality of God said that, O Parth, when a man gives up all varieties of desire for sense gratification, which arises from mental concoction, and when his mind, thus purified, finds satisfaction in the self alone, then he is said to be a pure transcendental consciousness. So, if one is actually engaged in Krishna consciousness, then automatically sense desires subside without any efforts. Therefore, one has to engage himself in Krishna consciousness without hesitation. For this devotional service will definitely instantly will help one to develop or go to the higher platform or go onto the platform of transcendental consciousness. So one has to develop the Krishna consciousness. In Bhagavad Gita chapter 6 verse 1, the Lord says that in the translation, the Supreme Personality of God said, one who is unattached to the fruits of his work and who works as he is obliged is in the renounced order of life, and he is the true mystic, not he who lights no fire and performs no duty. So everyone actually acts in this world and maintain his family and society, but no one is working for without some self-interest, some personal gratification. So here the Lord explains that the process of like an eightfold yoga system actually is meant to control the mind and the senses. So however, actually this is very difficult to for general people to perform, especially in this age of Kali. So one has to uh, everyone has to act, and the result should end result should give it to. Uh, I mean, one should not attach to the results, whether it is gain or profit or loss. So one has to act in Krishna consciousness as should be duty to every living entity, because we all are part and parcel of the Supreme Lord. So if for me it's a lesson for that is that the person one must act in Krishna consciousness and work for the satisfaction of the whole, but without self-interest. And has one should not have any desire for self-satisfaction. So that if I come to this category or uh, have no desire for self-satisfaction, and if I work for the satisfaction of the Lord Krishna, Supreme Personality of Godhead, then this criteria of the Krishna consciousness will be slowly progress. In also Bhagavad Gita chapter 6 verse 2, Srila Prabhupada in purport says that actually person who is in Krishna consciousness has actually no opportunity to engage his senses in anything which is not for the purpose of Krishna. So therefore, Krishna conscious person is simultaneously actually sannyasi and a yogi. So the real aim here is to give up all the selfish satisfaction and be prepared to satisfy the Supreme and be always engaged in Krishna consciousness. And one has to actually desire that to develop in Krishna consciousness and always engage. That engagement should be only for enjoyment of the Supreme. So this is my realization from this one. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, dear devotees. Thank you very much, His Grace Amrish Prabhu, Her Grace Pragya Devidasi Mataji, and His Grace Krishna Samarpan Krishna Prabhu for organizing these Bhagavad Gita classes and giving us chance to share our realizations. Thank you, Prabhuji. Hare Krishna. Shila Gurudev ki jai, Shila Prabhupada ki jai. And thank you, His Grace Sopan Prabhu, for sharing your nice realizations and giving references from Srila Prabhupada and focusing on renunciation and not working for self-interest, working for Krishna's satisfaction. So I'll recite the verse and translation and then I'll share my realization. Shreyo hi jnanam abhyasa Dhyanam vishishyate Dhyanat karma phala tyaga chantir anantaram. Translation, Srila Prabhupada ki jai. If you cannot take to this practice, then engage yourself in the cultivation of knowledge. Better than knowledge, however, is meditation. And better than meditation is renunciation of the fruits of action. For by such renunciation, one can attain peace of mind. So, as we studied the purport, Srila Prabhupada are explaining the direct and indirect process to realize Krishna. And Krishna consciousness is direct process. And the other practicing gradually cultivating knowledge, then meditation, then renunciation, and then realization of super soul is indirect. So we are very fortunate that Srila Prabhupada gave us this direct process of Krishna consciousness, and we can increase our attachment to Krishna. Otherwise, indirect process is very long and slow. Although the direct process is not possible for everyone, as Srila Prabhupada mentioned, but still everyone advised to take this Krishna consciousness, which is direct method to surrender unto Krishna. In Bhagavad Gita, chapter 7, verse 3, it is mentioned that Manushyanam sahastreshu kaschit yatati siddhaye yattam api siddhanam kaschinmam veti tatvatah. Out of many thousands among men, one may endeavor for perfection, and for those who have achieved perfection, hardly one knows me in truth. So, not everyone is inclined for this direct process of Krishna consciousness, but still, somehow or other, they can be engaged in Krishna consciousness by the causeless mercy of Srila Prabhupada and the mercy of Mahaprabhu, that everyone should get this opportunity to become Krishna consciousness, which is carried by our Guru Maharaj and Srila Prabhupada, the same mood. And as His Grace Amrish Prabhu also said in previous class, that process is simple provided we keep it simple. So everyone is allowed in immersed in Krishna consciousness, because bhakti is dynamic and cannot be bound by institution. So this is very practical. One can attain peace of mind by this process, because the translation also says that by such renunciation one can attain peace of mind. And renunciation is needed, because if we get too much entangled and attachment to the material world, we get more and more entangled and more focused on material things rather than spiritual. So renunciation, and how renunciation will come, the process given here, that first cultivation of knowledge, and then after knowledge, meditation, and then renunciation. And then we realize the super soul. Because there are so many other ways to do meditations. People meditate on void and different things, but the real meditation is when we focusing on the super soul, which is a representation of, or the plenary portion of Krishna, Paramatma. So this is the indirect process. So as we discussed in previous classes, that these are the verses that they are very practical, that everyone can engage in Krishna service, directly or indirectly. So it's not like you have to bound by some one set of institution. So it is open for everyone. And Krishna himself is saying that if you can't do this, you do this. If you can't do this, you can do this. Work for him and renounce the results for him. And previously we discussed that the even philanthropic work or charitable work also indirectly, because it is done for the supreme cause, and ultimately it will goes to Krishna. So these are the points from this verse that I realized that not everyone is inclined, but everyone can be engaged and get benefited by this process of Krishna consciousness. Hare Krishna. Thank you, brother.
Hare Krishna, dear devotees. Thank you very much, Sopan Prabhu and Sanjeev Prabhu, for your very nice realizations. So we are on Bhagavad Gita, chapter 12, verse 12. Shreyo hi jnanam abhyasa jnanadhyanam vishishyate dhyanat karma phala tyagas Tyagat Shantiranantaram. Translation and copy by Srila Prabhupada ki jai. If you cannot take to this practice, then engage yourself in the cultivation of knowledge. Better than knowledge, however, is meditation, and better than meditation is renunciation of the fruits of action. For by such renunciation, one can attain peace of mind. So, here Srila Prabhupada is talking about two things. One is a direct method and one is the indirect method of Krishna consciousness. So, as mentioned by Sanjeev Prabhu, Srila Prabhupada has given this method of a direct method to us of devotional service. And I was thinking that this is, we are living in the material world and we are always short of time. There's always, we're always trying to do things in a better way and in a faster way. So in other references, Srila Prabhupada says that, you can have an endeavor, like if you want to go to the 100th floor of a building, You have the choice to go by the steps and you have the choice to go by the elevator. So the elevator will take you faster. And it's not only the faster, but it's also the simpler method. So, whereas here it's said that if you cannot follow the direct method, then you follow the indirect method. And I was just thinking that we are so used to the direct method of devotional service that it will probably be, because of Srila Prabhupada, it will probably be very difficult for us to follow the indirect method. You know, if we are sick, for example, or we have some kind of grievance or anything like that, then we want Ram Banilaj, we want it fast action. And meditating on this point, Srila Prabhupada also mentions that in the indirect method, where you have to go through the whole process of meditation, renunciation, and everything like that, it is not really recommended for this age. Direct method is chanting of the Hare Krishna Maha Mantra. And when we are trying to chant the Hare Krishna Maha Mantra, there will be disturbances. But if we keep focusing on chanting, then that disturbances will go away eventually. Because the impact is there. When you're chanting Krishna's name, Krishna and his names are non-different. So you're trying to associate with the Supreme Personality of Godhead directly when you're trying to chant. Whereas in the indirect method, you're going through all these different steps. Meditation, not for this age. It was for the age where the living entity, the human being, they had 100,000 years of life, whereas we don't even have. We are not even around 100 in this Kali Yuga. So that process of meditation was recommended for that age where people lived for longer time and they had the time to do it. Whereas we really don't have the time also. And then it is in that process, Srila Prabhupada explains that you have to keep your eyes half open, then you have to focus on the nose, and you have to, all these things are there. And when we read all these indirect methods, and then your renunciation is there of your of all your actions, so which will then eventually lead to giving the fruits to Krishna and all these things. And I was thinking, it is very complicated, really. And the main difference I found here is that we are going, like, if you have an opportunity to directly approach the Prime Minister, why would you go and approach the other ministers which are in the cabinetry? Why would you do that? And then not only one, like here, there is an opportunity to directly associate with Krishna by chanting. Whereas otherwise, following all these different processes, at every step, you're enduring by your own self. How much guarantee or how much assurance is there then that there is no, losing the focus? Whereas when you're chanting in the direct method, you're doing your devotional service, when you're chanting the Hare Krishna Maha Mantra and trying to directly associate with Krishna, then the help comes directly from Krishna. The reciprocation is there. So what I thought was, it's much easier to follow the direct method. Indirect method seems very complicated, and we may not even reach where we want to reach, So I felt that, we all are so grateful to dear Srila Prabhupada for giving us this method and convincing us that this method is the right method for this age of Kali. So Pandrabha also mentioned about renunciation and working for Krishna. And Sanjeev Prabhu mentioned about this process is very simple, but like if we keep it simple, and also that bhakti is very dynamic, should not be restricted by any institutions. When I was listening to those points, I thought that that is so true, that we could endeavor in doing so many activities, and then when we're trying to do that, then you have to renunciate it, have the mood of renunciation. Whereas when you are actually doing devotional service, and if you are trying to have your consciousness in all the devotional process that Srila Prabhupada has given us, like you're chanting, you're cooking for Krishna, you're offering to Krishna, you're worshipping the deities, you're preaching. In these activities, it is much easier to remember Krishna and to give the fruits of our activities for the cause of Krishna. And then when the devotees are engaged in this direct process, then anybody who is helping them, say for example, I remember when you're going to work and people who are around you, maybe your boss or whoever it is also helping you to go early so you can go and do your preaching activity and all those things, then we are actually helping other people in following that indirect method, in if that is which is mentioned over here. So we can follow the direct method, and if people are not ready, we can help them follow the indirect method, and then gradually that is a better what do you say, what is the word for it, a better option, and it's only and only by Srila Prabhupada and Srila Gurudev's mercy that we are not like Arjun, but we are trying to be like Arjun. And so we can aspire to have be in that position where we can try to do the direct method of devotional service. So I think I just felt a lot of gratitude to Srila Prabhupada, because when I read this verse, I felt exactly like the reverse. I felt, oh, actually, I think the direct method is much easier than the indirect method. And I'm sure all the devotees who are following Srila Prabhupada feel the same. So, Hare Krishna. That is my realization.
Hare Krishna, dear devotees. Thank you, this great Sandesh Prabhu, for this Pantaji Mataji, this Krishna Sangha Krishna Prabhu, for training us and inspiring us to study these verses in prayer of realization. And thank you, Sopan Prabhuji, Sanjay Prabhu, and Pantaji Mataji for sharing your realization and covering different aspects. And it was very nice to hear too all the realizations. Preyo hi jnanam adhyasa jnanat dhyanam vishishtate dhyanat karma phala tyaga tyagash shanti anantaram. Jagadguru Srila Prabhupada ki jai. If you cannot take to this practice, then engage yourself in the cultivation of knowledge. Better than knowledge, however, is meditation, and better than meditation is a renunciation of the fruits of action, or by such renunciation, one can attain peace of mind. So, here Krishna, actually, I think translation is also referring back to the previous verse that we discussed last week. So all these verses that we actually discussed for the last few weeks, so Krishna is actually instructing that first he says that fix your mind completely, engage your mind, focus on Krishna. So that is ideal, So it says that if you do that, you can actually live with the Krishna, personal Krishna. If you cannot do that, then actually regulative principles of the Bhakti Yoga. So that will again help us develop a desire to serve Krishna without any material not actually do that, then they can work for Krishna, somehow engage, actually helping other devotees who are working for Krishna. Or actually, by engaging in that actually way as well, one can come to the perfection. And the last one, actually, when you cannot do that, in any altruistic, those actually some feel-good activities, even they actually consider that there is some supreme cause, then still, one can probably able to make a progress. But this progress, as Amrishpu also clearly mentioned, that it's not one lifetime. It can take many lifetimes. So, and now he's saying that even if you cannot do that, then you actually engage in the cultivation of knowledge. So, actually, while meditating on this verse, I remembered actually one of the Srila Prabhupada's lecture where he has a reference to the Bhagavad Gita verse, chapter 7, verse 19. Bahunam jamnam ante jnanvan mam prapaddati Vasudeva sarvamiti saha mahatma sudurlabha. So at that time, Srila Prabhupada explained that, it takes many lifetimes and many births and deaths to get to this stage to understand Krishna. And he can go through the various stages. Sometimes he can be a karmi, sometimes he can be a jnani, sometimes a yogi. And then finally, actually, when he gets frustrated with all these processes, then he comes to the understand that actually Krishna is the cause of all causes, Sarva Karan Karan. So at that time, and actually now verses that we're studying, there is actually direct reference, actually understand what Srila Prabhupada was actually talking about. So this is actually, indirect method. And also, as Mataji also shared, actually I feel the same, that we are so fortunate that actually we have been given the direct method, Srila Prabhupada, and even actually the highest, actually, the activity, the chanting of the Mahamantra. So we do not sometimes understand actually what we have been given, because going through this indirect method, so here even is saying that cultivation of knowledge, Jnanakant. So what they actually gain is they come to the understanding to the soul level, the Aham Brahmasmi, they understand they're the spirit soul. And then again, the meditation, Sanjay Prabhu also nicely explained this point that actually by meditation or yogic process, you finally come to the way your actually progress your knowledge to the level of actually understanding super soul, the Paramatma aspect. And there is again further process, one actually takes to the actually the regulative principles of Bhakti Yoga, and then they can come to the Bhagwan realization. So the indirect method is so long, so complicated, and if there's no guarantee, as it will take many lifetimes, and we do not know where we will born, in what condition, and whether we'll actually come to these stages, and who will be preaching. So it's very actually, there is no guarantee at all. So direct method, actually, Ivan is said is quite easy. Srila Prabhupada, once he said that it takes actually moment for someone to become a Krishna conscious. If he uses intelligence, it just take a moment to become a Krishna conscious, or it may take millions of lifetimes to get to the same point. So the intelligence is that what actually make a difference. How one actually uses his intelligence. So now we have actually means, yes, you are in human form, you have the intelligence, higher intelligence. You can retrospect, you can actually discriminate, make a decisions. So fortunately we have been preached. We are in the association of the devotees. We are actually directly engaged in a direct process. And actually doing activities directly for Krishna, on behalf of the spiritual master, these devotees. So this is actually, there is a guarantee that if you actually perfect this method, then you can actually go back to Godhead in this lifetime only. So this is actually is the actually the benefit, actually of the direct process. Even the direct process says it's very simple. Yes, if you keep it simple, it is simple. Otherwise, it has also many obstacles. We create our own obstacles, attached to our own egos and actually attachment to this materialistic thing. But from this actually particular verse, I was thinking, what is the takeaway? Even you are engaged in the direct process. So here it says that that actually by renunciation, by renunciation, karma phala tyaga, the actually fruits of our actually actions, or karma, if you actually engage in a Krishna service, then actually it leads to shantir antaram. So I remember actually that verse from chapter 5. Bhoktaram yagna tapsam sarvaloka maheshwaram surudam sarva bhutanam natvantim shantiruchate. So I think I found very similar. Here is also says that actually as a Bhoktaram, Krishna is the actual ultimate benefactor of all those sacrifices. He's the Lord of all the demigods and planets. And actually he's the well-wisher of all the living entities, So one who understands Krishna as he is, and actually he engage in serving him accordingly, then he actually gets the actually peace, He's relieved from the pangs of material miseries. So similar actually, even in the direct method, actually, if you attempt that actually, whatever actually the benefit that we derive from our activities or whatever is karmic, activities, the job you do, the business you do. So by practicing detachment from this materialistic thing and engaging all that, in Krishna's service, and I think you can actually come to the point of actually attaining peace. So Amrish Prabhu always say that is a yukta vairag. So we don't do any different things than ordinary people, but we are actually doing everything in service of Krishna. Try to engage everything, somehow. So I think we are trying to do that, some way. And actually it is it will the practice, practicing this and actually always thinking about it. And the preaching is the best way, because you can engage many things when you try to preach. You're actually your money can be engaged. Your time can be engaged. It forces you to study, think, and actually share your realizations as well. So the direct method, again stands out. So these are the again point I realized while meditating on this. Thank you. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, dear devotees. Thank you, His Grace Amrish Prabhu, our guest Panga Devidasi Mataji, and His Grace Krishna Samarpan Krishna Prabhu. Yeah, I don't know how Amrish Prabhu feels, because he has seen us growing from our beginning when we put our first step into Krishna consciousness, and now we all speak like a pandit, giving references, this verse, that verse, and look so knowledgeable. I don't know how Amrish Prabhu feels and how Mataji feels. And yeah, but he must be feeling good. But yeah, it must have taken a lot of efforts, and telling us how to read scriptures, how to understand Prabhupada mood, how to understand Krishna's mood, how to understand Maharaj, how to apply this practically. Means we all know all those things. Nothing new which I'm going to tell you. I heard also what Sanjeev Prabhu shared. Very nicely described, Sanjeev Prabhu, your realizations. And I don't know how you find time in running around, but yeah, thank you for that. And also they're referring us, what did we say? Okay, that's great. So, yeah, so that's that. Thank you, Amrish Prabhu, for creating this environment so that we can read and study the scriptures. So my first lesson is that more I read, more I get bewildered. I don't know if it is right or wrong, but more I read, more I get bewildered. Particularly when get you into Bhagavatam reading, and that's why probably you need a bona fide spiritual master to keep you focused. So this was very nicely covered by all of you, and my relation is quite close to what Purna Pagna Mataji said, that similar kind of situation, similar kind of realization, and very nicely described by all of you. But I would just take you back to saying this, that this is the, I think, smallest chapter in Bhagavad Gita where Krishna is giving how devotional service has to be performed. Yeah, these are many ways. Yeah, and we all understood that whatever way Krishna is telling is not for us. Yeah, maybe for someone else, because it's very hard. And same thing Krishna has said in 12.5 also, similar kind of thing. I'll quickly read that also, and then I'll share my realization. Shreyo hi jnanam abhyasat anadhyanam vishishyate dhyana karma phala tyagas shantir anantaram. So if we read Sanskrit verses slowly, we understand a meaning. This also I have learned from Amrish Prabhu, maybe through Maharaj. Shreyo hi ajnanam, threyu jnanam abhyasaj. Yeah, by doing exercise. Jnana dhyana vishishayate. Dhyanam. Then again, dhyanat karma phala tyagas. Then you tyag, do the tyag, and then tyaga shanti anantaram, and you get a peace of mind. Yeah. So this is so nicely. Thank you, Amrish Prabhu, for putting so much effort. I've seen you working hard and tolerating all of us. So the other thing which I was going to talk about is that 12.5. Klesho adhikatarastesham avyakta sakta chetasam avyakta hi gatir dukham devadbhir avapyate. Translation by Srila Prabhupada. For those whose minds are attached to the unmanifested, impersonal feature of the Supreme, advancement is very troublesome. To make progress in that discipline is always difficult for those who are embodied. So Krishna has already said this in reply to Arjuna's question, and which Prabhupada very nicely describes also. So it's a hard process, not for devotees who are interested. Now, why Krishna is saying like this? What is the purpose? Means what? Why Krishna keep talking? Yeah, same thing again and again, and then putting different types. So this is my relation, and you all can probably ignore this also. So when I was preparing for this, I bumped into chapter Canto 11, and that's where the discussion happening between Uddhav Maharaj asking some question to Krishna, and Krishna asking replying those questions. They're again bewildering. Okay, to me at least. And this gives me, actually, I enjoy this. Okay, let me find more, let me read more. Why like this? So here Uddhav inquired, my dear Lord, O Master of Universe, how many different elements of creation have been enumerated by the great sages? I have heard you personally describe a total of 28. God, the Jiva soul, the Mahat Tattva, false ego, the 5 gross elements, the 10 senses, the mind, the 5 subtle objects of perception, and the 3 modes of nature. But some authorities, now here is a twist, but some authorities say that there are 26 elements, while others cite 25 or else 7 or 9 or 6 or 4 or 11. And even others say that there are 17, 16 or 30. What did each of these sages have in mind when he calculated the creative elements in such different ways? O Supreme Eternal, kindly explain this to me. So this question is being asked by Uddhav Maharaj to Krishna himself. And then very nicely Krishna described, of course, we know the answer. We all know the answer because we are all very seriously following Maharaj, and we are trying to understand these things very systematic way. So we know the answer, but it's very interesting how Krishna is answering, and probably that's what we need to learn. So then Krishna replies, Lord Krishna replied, because all material elements are present everywhere, it is reasonable that different learned Brahmanas have analyzed them in different ways. All such philosophers spoke under the shelter of my mystic potency, and thus they could say anything without contradicting the truth. That is reply given by Krishna. Okay. And when philosophers argue, I don't choose to analyze this particular case in the same way that you have. It is simply my own insurmountable energies that are motivating their analytic disagreements. So that's Krishna talking in Canto 11, what we are discussing today. That's how devotees keep fighting and all those things. And today, what she shared, Srushti Mata shared that verse in the same line, how a worse devotee is better than a best materialistic person. So this is how Krishna is talking. I feel that Krishna is not easy to understand. I feel that Krishna's heart is even more difficult. Okay, we are devotee. We try to understand that whatever you want to understand. Now, same. I have referred one more verse. I'm just trying to say that how Bhagavatam talks about all those situations. And this is Canto 6. I have shared this before also, Canto 4. And the translation is, let me offer my respectful obeisance unto the all-pervading supreme personality of Godhead, who possesses unlimited transcendental qualities, acting from within the cores of the hearts of all philosophers who propagate various views. He causes them to forget their own souls while sometimes agreeing and sometimes disagreeing among themselves. Thus, he creates within this material world a situation in which they are unable to come to a conclusion. I offer my obeisance to him. So that is Bhagavatam. So this is very normal what we feel and what we see. That's what's happening nowadays. So thank you again. I would like to thank you, Purna Pragna Devi Dasi and Krishna Smar Prabhu and Agrish Prabhu for actually having these classes ongoing and learning how to read scriptures and learning how to share realization. And then we are all allowed to develop progress the way we want to, if we are progressing. And then now we are probably going to the next level, that where Amrish Prabhu is taking a very different role. I can see that what he's trying to do, but probably I'll share it when time comes, and maybe I'm wrong also. But that's my relation, Prabhu. Thank you, Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, dear devotees. Thank you very much for all your wonderful realizations and for your glorifications. Please, I'm not qualified of any of these things. I'm just a simple devotee, and it's very nice. All of you are very qualified devotees and personalities. So all glories to all of you. So this verse, Krishna is saying, if you cannot take to this practice, then engage yourself with cultivation of knowledge. This is the lowest. Cultivation of knowledge is the lowest. Better than knowledge is meditation. Meditate on Krishna. Better than meditation on Krishna is to renounce the fruits of one's actions. Tyag. Tyag is better than meditation. We should be very intrigued by this process. For by such actions, one can attain peace. So why peace of mind is important? So to achieve peace of mind, Krishna is saying to do this. You see, as we study, studying, giving knowledge, getting knowledge of Krishna is to understand Krishna. Because ultimately, nobody can understand Krishna. This is the truth. We don't share this with everybody. It's not a common knowledge. So we are trying to grasp Krishna with our limited capacity and knowledge. We cannot work for Krishna, then gain knowledge of Krishna. Cannot do this, meditate. Better than that is the results of the actions. Because by doing so, you'll attain peace. By peacefulness, you'll think about Krishna. So this has always intrigued me, this particular verse. Normally we think that knowledge, gaining knowledge is far superior. Why sit in one place, doing nothing, meditating? Better we gain knowledge. That's what we are doing here, studying Bhagavad Gita, giving ourselves different angles of thoughts by which we can know about Krishna, know about bhakti. Now, one thing we must try to understand. Very rarely Maharaj speaks like this, But Srila Gurudev had spoken this way. The Maharaj says is that we must understand this, that like for example, if we are human species, cannot think like a different species, say animal species, like dog or a tiger, is a different species. We may understand this little bit of traits to say that a dog may think like this or a cat may think like this, but they are of a different species. Even as human species, even in the same variation of species of human, there are so many different people who differ with each other at perception level. So what are we talking about? Dealing with a different species who may have their own mental traumas, physical traumas, which may affect their thinking capacity. The capacities are different. Now Krishna is of a different species completely. We are also part of the same spirit soul. But right now, as we identify with the body is made up of earth, water, fire, and ether with this pulse, bone marrow, blood, muscle, urine, stool. So thinking is conditioned by this thinking, whereas Krishna's body is completely spiritual. There is a difference between Mayavad philosophy and Vaishnava philosophy. So we have to understand this and accept this fact that it is not easy to understand Krishna. And to understand Krishna is a particular process which we are completely unaware of. And if we have to understand him, which is impossible to do so, So we just have to love him. Prabhupada says this. Maharaj says this way. Therefore, we have to come to that level of species to understand about him and love him. And what is he? What is he? We have discussed this verse in the past. Nam Chintamani Krishna Chaitanya Rasa Vigraha Purna Shuddho Nitya Mukta Bhinatvam Nama Namina. So the holy name of Krishna is transcendently blissful. It bestows all spiritual benedictions. For it is Krishna himself, the reservoir of all pleasure. Krishna's name is complete, and it is the form of all transcendental mellows. Just understand. This is the supreme absolute truth. Krishna's form, Krishna's name is complete and is the form of all transcendental mellows. It is not a material name under any condition, and it is not less powerful than Krishna himself. Since Krishna's name is not contaminated by material qualities, there is no question of its being involved with Maya. Krishna's name is always liberated and spiritual. It is never conditioned by the laws of material nature. This is because the name of Krishna and Krishna himself are identical. So basically, Krishna is only one thing: love. His business is only love. He has created us only for love, nothing else. The more you go deeper into the subject matter of Krishna, and for us, it's more beneficial for us that we have got Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. The more we understand that everything else is absolutely immaterial to the fact of our love, developing love for Krishna. Everybody will say everything. Everybody will say that we must have this, only then possible. If we have that, not possible. Then why haven't they achieved it? This is the question to be asked. They say, oh, because I'm not serious. Why are you not serious? So we have to understand this point that it is not possible to understand Krishna because it is the lowest stage. This verse, Krishna very clearly says, better than cultivation of knowledge is to meditate. And better than meditation, because it's not possible in this age to meditate, is to renounce the fruit of action. But we are so materialistic people. We try to force our devotional service with our material agendas. And we want to go back to Godhead and achieve love of God. So we will be then in illusion that we are bound thinking knowledge is supreme. Of course it is supreme. Our focus is only knowledge. Mahavishnu Goswami Maharaj's focus is only knowledge. At the same time, it culminates in pure, unalloyed devotional service. Well, that's it. We must be only focused upon this pure, unalloyed devotional service. There is no compromise. In the leaders group, leaders Sangha, from in fact IDP only, the compromising about pure devotional service is stops. We've been very lenient to everybody. I'm very lenient to myself. So I have to focus upon myself and force me not to be lenient to myself. Only loving devotional service from Krishna. And then if you have got this No? Premanjani Chavita Bhakti Vilochana. Prema Anjana Chavita Bhakti Vilochana. We discussed this, very lofty discussions. So nice here, Brahma Samhita. But we have not cultivated it. Actually, we have it in us. When are we going to look at the different deviations, the different aspects of the same Gaudiya Vaishnava Sampradaya, but different angles? When are we going to come to that state of understanding? Because if we do not know, then we will be fooled. We are fish. We are like a child in the water. We do not know how to swim. There are different philosophies in Gaudiya Vaishnava. Distinct. I'm talking about distinct. Distinct means different. Same Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. So, love of Krishna, loving Krishna is a supreme. This is the purpose for which, this is the only purpose for which Chaitanya Mahaprabhu appeared, along with his associates, the five Panchatattvas. And we are followers of that parampara. So we have to understand how did they do it. Why did they do it and how did they do it? And then things will be opened up to understand what actually is the purpose, the reason for Krishna to appear as Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. It's only love in Krishna. Mahaprabhu just loved Krishna, full stop. He gave only 8 verses. Of course, they are very deep verses. And that's why I wrote this today's post, When did today or yesterday? When did I post? Leader Sangha. Let me just see. It was yesterday. Because Mahaprabhu was criticized. Our Gaudiya Vaishnavas were criticized because the Shankaracharya and all disciplic succession, they have their own Vedanta Sutra, commentary on Vedanta Sutra. Where Chaitanya Mahaprabhu said, there is no need for us to write anything else. Srimad Bhagavatam is itself a natural commentary of Vedanta Sutra. So our Sampradaya was not recognized by all other Sampradayas. To say we don't have Vedanta Sutra. So that is the reason why Govinda Bhasya was written. And that's why I was very intrigued with these statements. To say, forcing the bad effects of their presenting Vedanta philosophy in a perverted way. Srila Vyasadeva compiled Srimad Bhagavatam as a commentary on the Vedanta Sutra. This is the reason why. This is our understanding. From the point of view of Vyasadeva, when he himself has given commentary of Vedanta Sutra and Srimad Bhagavatam, why should we do it? So Srimad Bhagavatam is Bhashyayam Brahma Sutranam. Here, Bhasyoyam Brahma Sutranam. In other words, all the Vedanta philosophy in the aphorisms of the Brahma Sutra or Vedanta Sutra is thoroughly described in the pages of Srimad Bhagavatam. Thus, the factual propounder of Vedanta philosophy is a Krishna conscious person who always engages in reading and understanding the Bhagavad Gita and Srimad Bhagavatam and teaching the purport of these books to the entire world. It's a very big responsibility we are undertaking upon ourselves. Somehow or other, Guru Maharaj have told me, had faith. And Maharajas now have faith on all of you. So we all are carrying big responsibility. And yes, we are following the mood of Prabhupada and Guru Maharaj. So we are focusing upon the philosophy and knowledge thoroughly. But we must never get disfocused from the aim. Our aim is only to perform loving devotional service to Krishna. Our love. This is the purpose of which. Nama Chintamani Krishna. It's a Rasa Vigraha, Chaitanya Rasa Vigraha. It's a form of all transcendental mellows. See? So we have got blood flowing in our veins, and Krishna has got different mellows flowing. All kinds of energies are there in him. And there is no question for him to be involved in any other rasas. Therefore, Krishna's presence in Dwarka is different to that of Vrindavan, to that of Jagannath Puri, Purushottam Ras, Vaman Avatar. And it is this Krishna in Vrindavan which never leaves Vrindavan. And that's where we want to go. If we want to go to Vrindavan, then we have to be focused upon understanding what it does in Vrindavan. And to understand that, we cannot jump. So we have to start from the first stages. All other incarnations of Krishna, including Vamandev and all, were talking about philosophy, etc. Glorification, philosophy. Krishna's incarnation comes, all hell breaks loose. Right from childhood, he's harassing people, having enjoyment, people enjoying with him. There are different rasas there. Breaks the pots, people still love it. Goes and steals, people still love it. This is not there in other incarnations. And the best devotees are one who loved Krishna through their lust. This is absolutely outstanding. Just imagine this. Lust is normally considered very fallen and lowly. But the best of all, the gopis perfected their love for Krishna out of lust. This itself should be our starting point to say, wow, where we have to go. See? So I hope and pray that very soon one day we become very focused upon our remembrance of Krishna, day and night, thinking about Krishna, nothing else. Just as I was answering one question of Krishnadas in our Sunday program, and we said this in the dream of Krishnadas Kaviraj Goswami. He saw Nityananda Prabhu, who told him to go to Vrindavan. But before that, when he saw Nityananda Prabhu in his dream, he was swinging left and right in a trance. He stood there and he was meditating upon and saying, Krishna, 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 swinging left and right in trance. And around him were all his associates. They were all doing the same thing, complete trance. Krishna, Krishna, Krishna. So that is how it is. This is where we want to go. This is what our intoxication is. And there is no limits to it. Let nobody restrict you in saying this. That's the reason why it is so valuable that we are doing. That we have left it open. Say, okay, you want to do it? Do it. You want to preach yourself? Please do so. If you want to follow us, very good. Loyalty is our coin, a value. If you don't want to do it, no problem. Because we know we are supremely confident that tomorrow, even if you will do the same thing to your people, and if they go away, but you will be self-satisfied. Because you are in that mood. What do you want to achieve? Krishna, 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 Krishna. If people want to take away from you, learn from you and go, cheat you, do this, do that, You are not concerned. You're just thinking Krishna, Krishna, Krishna. See, that is our perfection, really. So this is what I thought, that I should focus upon myself to say that what does it mean that knowledge is not as superior to meditation, it's not as superior to renunciation, because you will achieve lasting peace. And peace is the first ingredient to think about Krishna, Krishna, Krishna. Because we want bliss. Maharaj would say, we are searching after only bliss, nothing less. Okay? Thank you very much. This is what I thought I would share. Hare Krishna. Anyone want to say anything or have any questions? Feel free. Please feel free. Hare Krishna. Okay, so we'll conclude. Just before conclusion, I have not asked Sanjeev Prabhu. Hare Krishna, Sanjeev Prabhu.
Hare Krishna, Babuji.
Yes, I have not asked you. It's been a very long time. You went to India and all also. So after your chanting, you're chanting now on Tulsi Beach, after offering to Guru Maharaj and all this, you're
Yes,
very
Babuji.
excited initially. How is your excitement level now? Is it gone down?
Now I'm struggling a little bit, probably because of the traveling and all that. But I'm finding very much connected to Guru Maharaj. Always, I read mellows every morning and offer to Guru Maharaj, pay my obeisances. So I've tried to keep up, probably for that level, and it's not gone down. Definitely, it gives me some more. Like it's different from before, so I'm more focused. I try to read Srimad Bhagavatam as well, as Guru Maharaj also always instructed. So yes, Prabhuji, it's although I'm very busy running around here and there, but focus is there somehow by the mercy, causeless mercy of Guru Maharaj and Srila Prabhupada. And you also, Prabhuji, helping me focusing with these programs so we can not drift away with other things. Yes, probably it's helped me a lot, probably.
Okay, I'm happy to hear that excitement which you had felt is still continuing.
Yes, probably it's Guru Maharaj's mercy, and I definitely can feel Guru Maharaj's presence every time.
That's good.
Yes, Prabhuji.
That's, as I said, its mercy is always there. It's up to you to feel. Always say this.
Yes,
So
Prabhuji.
very nice. Very nice. All the best.
Thank you,
And
Prabhuji.
thank you very much, Hare Krishna. And also, Sita Prabhu, Namrata Mataji, Hare Krishna. Krishnadas, you can finish the live now, please. Thank you.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji.